we're making that decision now. Thank you.
Who would you send?
What was the reason?
You ready to go?
Are you?
Yeah.
Is sending the president to Ukraine something that you guys have like talked about? I know there's no plan. Like, is it something that you guys are discussing?
No.
Okay.
No.
One can imagine that the general conversation is it would be good to send somebody, especially since the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, Ursula von der Leyen, the head of the European Commission, the Polish President Andrzej Duda, and the leaders of Baltic countries have gone to Kyiv to visit with Zelensky. So it seems a bit odd for the US, which has been the catalyst and the leader of this Western response to Russia's invasion, does not go to see Zelensky.
Do you want President Biden to come here?
Yes,
Are there any plans for him to come?
I think he will. I think he's the leader of the United States, and that's why he should come here to see.
These visits are more symbolic than they are substantive. A lot of the substance happens without them needing to be there. Whether or not there's a visit, there will be more military aid going to Ukraine. In terms of deliverables, a lot of those things are happening without a visit. Biden and Zelensky talk on the phone pretty regularly. So it would just be a sign of American resolve. America stands with Ukraine. America is still here and willing to be in the capital, even in the face of danger. How important is it for us to have that symbolic visit, weighed against the security concerns? One can imagine that is what's roiling the debate inside the administration right now.
And President Zelensky told Jake Tapper yesterday that he wants President Biden to visit Ukraine and he believes that he will. You said last week there were no plans being made for President Biden to go. Is that still the case?
That has not changed. What our focus continues to be on is providing Ukraine, the Ukrainian government, Ukrainian leaders, a historic amount of security assistance. If anyone were to go, there's no plans for the president to go, so let me just reiterate that. But we would not outline from here or anywhere from the government who, if, and when for security reasons.
It doesn't look like it's going to be President Biden. They want Biden to focus on domestic issues more and to separate the sort of foreign affairs aspect from the domestic aspects of his job. But it's possible that you will see a cabinet level official head to Kyiv, like a Secretary of State Antony Blinken or a Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. These kinds of conversations are done privately. We'll know whenever it's tweeted when that person is there, if that person goes. Their head of security, their operations people, they talk to U.S. officials in Ukraine and they talk to U.S. officials in Poland and they'll talk to Polish officials, et cetera, and they'll work out some sort of plan. But it's also as possible that there won't be a visit.
Now, there's not a time when a major official of the administration goes anywhere where we don't factor in security concerns, of course. And Ukraine is under attack right now. It's been invaded by a foreign power. So, of course, any potential visit, and again, I'm not previewing one, but any potential visit, you'd have to have security concerns, and we certainly wouldn't do it if we couldn't meet those concerns.
There's definitely pros and cons, right? If you go, you build a narrative that America really is behind Ukraine. The con, of course, is a security concern. You could have a top-level official in trouble if a missile goes astray in Kyiv, or even one that is intentional. That option, by the way, extremely unlikely from what we're told. Sending someone to an active war zone is tough. Now, you could say, well, we've sent presidents and past officials to Iraq and Afghanistan in the past, but keep in mind, in Iraq and Afghanistan, the U.S. has military bases in which they could land and send people and actually had troops in areas that sort of understanding of the terrain. This would be none of that. This would be an active war zone in which the U.S. does not have much control, if any at all. I'm not necessarily saying that sending an official into Ukraine is harder than Iraq or Afghanistan, but I am saying that there are other complications. You'd imagine that the American official would have to land in Poland and then helicopter in to Kyiv or land at the Kyiv International Airport, which means sending a plane into an active war zone. The U.S. would probably do some sort of back channel to Moscow saying, hey, this official is coming on this vehicle, whether it be a plane, a train, or whatever, likely a plane or a helicopter. They're going to be in Kyiv for this amount of time, and then they're going to go. Surely the Russians will say, don't do that. We're upset about that. But if you do that sort of backdoor notification, you help safeguard, in theory, the official, and then you also sort of maybe lower tension to the Russians. So it's not some sort of big surprise sprung up on the Russians. Putin's not going to like having an American official in Kyiv. I mean, the Russians have already warned against such a visit. The question is, does he just kind of, complain and then let bygones be bygones, or does he actually do something quite nefarious afterwards? It's unlikely he's going to act out in sort of one big brash way. Russia's already escalated, right? Quite a bit. They're invading. They send missiles all over the place. I think in terms of politics and narrative, you could imagine the Russians just stepping up the rhetoric, saying, we're really upset about this. This is America meddling once again. Do they step up missile strikes or military activity, specifically tied to such a visit? It's unlikely, but nothing is impossible, especially when it comes to Putin these days.